It is time now for today's Talkback segment. Each day we post a question on Court TV's social media pages. We gather your comments and questions, then respond right here on the show. We wanted to know what you think about the possibility that Alex Murdaugh will get a new trial. Still here to discuss, criminal defense attorneys and former prosecutors Franz Borghardt and David Bruno. All right, gentlemen, our first comment comes from Sherry. Sherry says, in my opinion, the hearing should be done, just so they can say the allegations were looked at and are unfounded. Then Alex Murdaugh's shenanigans can stop, and he can do the time for killing his wife and son. And at the end of the day, you know, David, I agree with you. I think this case was really, the evidence is what got him convicted. It wasn't any shenanigans by a court clerk or whatever. But really, you have to, courts are bound by more than just the evidence. There's the appearance of propriety, there's justice, there's due process. And if you find that that's been denied, you got to go through this whole thing again.
Yeah, sure, especially the sanctity of the jury and the jurors itself, and also the nature of the allegations. These are material to the credibility of the defendant's testimony, the credibility of the theories submitted by the defense attorneys, and absolutely. So let's wait and see. Let's see how this all develops. Let's see what this testimony is. And Michael, just my last point on this, they're going to probably change the way they tried that case. Because let's not forget, they opened the door to the 404 bad act fraud evidence. Murdaugh took the stand, and that was a complete disaster in light of a lot of the other evidence. So I think if he does get a second crack at it, they're going to try the case completely differently. I
agree, and I think the pretrial issues are going to be really fought hard, trying to keep those financial crimes out. Our next comment comes from Matt. Court TV, my question is how well he knows her, meaning the court clerk. Has he paid her to tamper with juries in his cases? That's an interesting question, Franz, and it crossed my mind that, you know, this is sort of a place where the Murdaughs have had, you know, run of the land for a very long time. It's not beyond the realm of possibility here.
So, great hypothetical question. The problem is she clearly is never going to admit to being bought off by someone before. She probably will not admit to making a comment to the jury. So I love the question, though, because I mean, I'm thinking the same thing, like the viewers. I'm thinking the same thing, like, what is the history between these two? Problematic? Sure, but it's probably never going to come out during an evidentiary hearing.
Yeah, I think you could say the same about the jurors who put forth the affidavit. Maybe they are being pressure put on them. Our next comment comes from Jaron. Jaron says, how do they find a new unbiased jury? Most people have seen the documentaries already and know he was convicted and found guilty. How do you find an unbiased jury? Great question. Franz mentioned earlier, not only is the jury an issue, David, but the judge himself, with the comments he made, he may not be someone who could sit in this case again.
Yeah, without a doubt. First of all, it was a difficult selection to start. It's going to be a more difficult selection now. And it's not just if you've heard about the case, though. I think a lot of our viewers think that maybe just if you know about the case, it's an exclusion. That's not the case. There's another question that has to follow from there is, can you be fair? Can you be fair in the case? And that's what we're going to have to find. So if we can't do it in that county, it's going to have to be moved just like it was earlier.
Yeah, and again, they may have to move counties. That's right. Our last comment comes from Paulo. Paulo says, this isn't about whether he's guilty or not guilty. That's up to a jury. It's about whether there was anything egregious during the course of the trial. If such is the case, he is entitled to an appeal. All who are accused of a crime are entitled to appealing under such circumstance. And that's really what, Franz, I got 20 seconds or so, that's really what it boils down to.
Right. Nothing more, nothing less. Paulo's spot on. If this happened, if it was said to a jury, that's enough. This jury is sacrosanct. You cannot interfere with it, and that's the long and short of it.
Yeah, and Becky's got to know better, and I submit she will be facing criminal charges if it's shown that she did the things that she's accused of doing. All right, David Bruno, Franz Borghardt, thank you so much for being with me this evening. Always a pleasure to have you guys on the show.